Today I'm going to talk about why adding joy and joy time to your life can help improve your productivity and your work and your relationships and more for you and your family. And I'm going to talk about how to do that. That joy time doesn't have to take a lot of time. People often say, I don't have time for joy. And that's really an important thing to really be aware of and to keep track of. So joy, the first thing is that joy shouldn't just be reserved for vacations or holidays or birthdays or special events or parties. We need, and I tell my clients, the ones who are working for optimal productivity, optimal work results, optimal happiness with family and relationships, I tell them joy and happiness is an important part of all of it. And that joy and happiness actually give us fuel to help energize us and give us momentum to be more productive, to do more in our lives. When you're stressed and you're tired and frustrated, your outcome, your productivity is actually less because you're working against resistance. And people think they're good at working when they're stressed, but that's because they don't know how much better they would be if they're working under more relaxed conditions where happiness generates the momentum and energy for them. And I'm going to talk more about that today. We've been taught in our lives that the more activities, the more tasks you put in the day, the better. We push more into our work days in order to try to optimize productivity. And people sideswipe attempts at building joy and happiness. But again, joy and relaxation gives us energy to work, to be productive, to be creative, to build relationships, to communicate well, to get through our days with energy so that we don't depend on caffeine in the morning to wake us up, or caffeine or alcohol at the end of the day to stay active and awake and creative. So I want you to think about joy and happiness. I want you to think about including joy moments, what I call joy moments, daily, weekly, and to have a joy plan when you have those challenges and stresses in life so that you're prepared. When we have stress in our lives, when we feel stressed, our bodies release stress hormones. Our brain and our body are affected by stress hormones, and that negatively affects our health, our mood, our energy. So preventing or eliminating those stress hormones can really be helpful. And instead of stressing, to build those joy moments in your life so that instead of releasing the stress hormones, you're releasing the happy hormones, the dopamines, which really keep us energized, active, and healthier. There are a lot of medical problems that are really fed by inflammation that come partly from stress hormones. And when you want to stay healthy and happy, having a plan and thinking about the joy in your life can be really helpful. And again, it doesn't have to take hours. Of course, there are things that you can do. You can go on hikes, you can go on vacations, those can be joyful. But daily, you should have a plan for joy, what I call joy moments. And when I meet with people individually and get to know them, I come up with plans for what joy moments can be for your life, for your family, for your kids, for a partner, if there's a partner. What can you do? Often I'll come up with something for the group, for family, and individual things. So just if you think just for a momentary thing, When teams get together before a sports game, you know how sometimes they go high five they'll put hands up, high five each other. That is a moment of joy that they all share, that lifts their spirits, that gives them energy and joy going into a game. As opposed if you have somebody else who's just sitting and dreading and waiting for a game to start and nervous about, am I going to win, am I going to lose, am I going to score? Whose body, whose mind is better prepared to go into that game? The one who did the high five and who's happy and energized and relaxed, or somebody who's going in really stressed and their body is tense and their mind is tense? Joy and happiness can help us in all our areas of our life. It makes us more productive. Promoting and infusing those joy moments can be helpful. So you should have a plan daily to have some joy moments. Can be from when you wake up in the morning to lunchtime to late afternoon or evening. What's a joy moment? And again, I create things when I get to know people, but I can give you some general ideas. One joy moment is what I call a joy breath. You may have some stress going on in your life or some things that you're thinking of, but for this moment, I want you to put all of that aside. I want you to plan that you're going to take a really deep breath, really relaxed and rested, and feel the joy in that breath. Let's all take a joy breath together. That feels good. And as you practice it, you will see within moments you can take a joy breath and it will really help bring you down, relax you, so that you can move forward. For some people, a joy moment can be even a brief sequence of music that you hear that just makes you feel so relaxed and raises your spirits so happy. For some people, I create a visualization. I tell people, think of this, and it has something to do with their lives that makes them feel joyous and happy. For some people, it can even be a tap on your desk or a sequence of hand claps that just takes you out of your stress that you're feeling and makes you think of something that elevates your heart and your spirit and your mind. So I want you to think about the things that you can do. I want you to also include your family in your thoughts. What can you do for your kids to infuse joy moments with them? And again, I sometimes do that with my clients to create joy moments for kids or a spouse or a workplace so that you feel the joy and happiness in your life. You're not stuck in stress mode, in working day to day in that stress, which really takes energy out of your life. It takes energy and creativity and momentum away from what you're doing. And a lot of people say, I work well under stress. And you may feel that way because that's your habit. But if you developed a better habit of working under relaxation to feel better, to feel creative, to feel rested, your life would be much more pleasant and your productivity would flow much more than if you force it against resistance. When you work under stress, you're forcing things against resistance. And when you add joy and happiness and change your spirit really to be energized, you flow better. Things flow, whatever you're doing, whether it's hobbies, work, relationships, family, home time, me time, whatever it is, it flows better. So again, I'd like you to think about what you do daily. Do you have joy moments in your life? I'm going to give you some homework and ask you to create joy moments in your life. What do you do on a weekly basis to create joy? And I'm not talking about what I call forced joy or toxic joy. If you go to the gym and feel like you work hard, not that you're having a good time, but that you're really laboring. Laboring is not joy. It's forced, it's toxic joy. It's what people do when they feel, I'm supposed to feel happy, but it doesn't bring real happiness. I want you to learn to reclaim the joy and happiness in your life. Really feel it, because it not only gives you that joyous spirit, but it also supports good health, good productivity, good focus, good attention, and good outcomes in your life. So I want you to think about that. You can apply this to your kids, your family, your colleagues at work, your workplace as well. If I can be of any help to you, I will put my calendar in. I will have a limited number of appointments available coming up this week. If you are interested as well, I talk about my Success Builders group and my High Achievers Club. And this is really an important aspect of being a high achiever. People think high achievers are constantly tense and pressured and working, but that is not the case. To be a high achiever, you want to learn to focus and attend without that stress so you can be optimally productive. You don't want to be working against resistance and pushing. If you do that, it's just a habit that you're used to. But people who are really high achievers, the highest achievers, flow with their work. They don't work against stress. Even hard projects that can be challenging, they work with confidence, with happiness, with joy that helps them move forward. So I encourage you to think about how this can help you, how it can help your family, and if I can be of support to you and help bring some smiles and happiness, let me know, because happiness is really the key to energy, to optimal energy. And that really supports health and work and productivity and relationships and everything. So let's get this moving for you. I wish you joy and happiness in all of the areas of your life. Let's talk about how to infuse more joy in your life and your family and your workplace.